Hello there. Today we're going to look at Call Me When You're Sober by Evanescence. I like this song because Amy Lee clearly knows what she's doing. The harmony in this song is fantastic, and the guitar part is really simple and effective, which is great at conveying a metal aesthetic. First things first, this song is in drop D for guitar, so that means we're lowering the E string down to a D, so we can get that low D note. But it also means all the power chords we play would just be one finger. So every single chord in this song is just like a one finger chord. The hard part comes in the right hand. From this point onward in the intro progression, we're going to be feeling the rhythms as 16th notes. So this means breaking down the 4 beats in the bar into 4 further subdivisions. So we would feel that as 1 E and a, 2 E and a, so on and so forth. So I'm going to break down the strum pattern into 2 sections of the bar. So the first 2 beats, we're going to start with the open D on the 1, and then on the E, we're going to change to the E, which is going to be the 2nd fret. So that will be downstroke, hammer on, 1 E. And we're going to stay on this E for the rest of the half bar. Then on the and we've got down, up. Then on the 2 and the we've got down, up. Then on the and we're going to do down, down. So slowly that would sound like 1 E and 2 E and Up to speed, that would be. The second half of the bar is where things start to get a bit funky. So we're going to have a rest on the 3 and a rest on the and. So we'll be playing notes on the E and the That would sound like 3 E and Then on the 4th beat we'll have another note, and then on the E of 4 we'll go to the open D. That would sound like 3 E and 4 E and Putting the whole thing together would sound like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. Now that repeats 4 times before going into the verse. The verse progression starts off by playing a fragment of what we were doing earlier. So we're going to start off on the 1 again with the open D, and we're going to hammer on to the E on the E. 1 E. Then we have and with the E's. 1 E and Then we'll pick it up again on the E of the 4 E and Then that leads back into the progression again. 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and so on and so forth. In the second half of the verse, it picks up with a guitar lead line. So that would start up on the G here on the D string, way up on the 17th fret, and we'll do G to 2 Ds. So pull off, upstroke. Then to the F sharp, pull off, upstroke. Then to the E. So that's going to be 17, 16, 14. Then the second time, we have G, F sharp, to the C, which is your 10th fret. So it'll do that line twice before going into the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus is only 2 bars long with 2 chords. So we start with the C on the 10th fret, and then in the second bar we have the B on the 9th fret. So the rhythms are a little bit tricky. On the first beat, we have 1 E and Then on the second beat, we have 2 E and carrying on to the 3 as well. 1 E and 2 E and 3. Then on the E of 3, we have just straight 16th notes. E and 4 E. And then we have rest on and of 4. That would sound like slowly 1 E and 2 E and the second bar we have the same sort of thing. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and at speed that would sound like. Fortunately for the chorus, the rhythms are much simpler. They're just going to be semi-breves through each chord. So it starts off on the E, which goes up to the C, which is your 10th fret, back to the E, going down to the E flat on the 1st fret, up to the G, back to the E flat, and back to the G, then up to the C, back to the G. And then on the 4th beat of this bar, we've got the pickup of the D again. That would sound like this. Then into the verse. The second verse sees the return of the rhythm from the intro over the first half of the verse, but then is identical for the second half. First half of the bridge is just piano, but if you like, I'll show you the chords anyway. So it starts off with a C chord, you only, then it changes to C minor, call me when you're, changing to the G, sober, then we have some suspensions, no, 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 back to the C, you only, C minor, want it cause it's, changing to a G7, over, up to the E flat, super nice, back to the G7, E flat, stopping before the 4th beat as a little drop off before the rest of the band comes back in. The second half of the bridge, where the rest of the band comes in again, is going to be the hardest part for me to explain. But it is basically, in a nutshell, triplets juxtaposed against straight rhythms. So we're going to start off with the A on the 7th fret, and we're going to do triplets over the first 2 beats. Triplets. Then on the 3 and 4 we've got the open D. 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. Then we go to the E, where we'll do triplets, sustaining that last triplet until the and of 4, where we hit it again to pick up to the C on the 10th fret, where we'll do triplets, change down to the B on the 9th fret, where we'll do the straight rhythms, 3 and 4 and back down to the E. Now this bar is going to be the hardest bar, so the first 2 beats are triplets again, triplets. Then on the and of 3 we're going to play a note, and then on the E of 4 we're going to play a note. So that would be 3 E and a 4 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. At speed that sounds like. Then we go back to the A for triplets, down to the D for the straight ones again, and then we're going to do triplets on the E, and sustain that through the whole bar. Then we have triplets on the C, sustain through the whole bar again, and then just sustain a semi-breve of the B. Then that takes us back into the chorus. Hopefully that should be enough information for you to play the guitar part of Call Me When You're Sober. Like I mentioned earlier, one of my favourite things about this song is the harmony. Now this is used to great effect in the chorus. So it starts off on the 1 chord, minor 1, E minor, then it goes to the major 6, still all diatonic, back to the minor 1, then we get a massive curveball in the E flat major, to the G major. So this E flat major is kind of a modal interchange chord for the new home center of G, which is the relative major key of E, not E minor for that. Now, I still don't quite understand how it works from the E minor to the E flat major to the G, but my guess is that it is standing in for the C minor chord to get that plagal cadence. Still kind of works like that with a little bit of extra tonal color. Then it will repeat the G to the flat major 6, borrowed from G minor, back to the G, and then we have a C minor for that plagal cadence, back into the D, which is your backdoor 5 chord into E, into the verse, back into E minor. The next really interesting part is the piano part of the first half of the bridge. So it starts off with a C major. So spoilers, this is the 4 chord of G. Then it goes to a C minor, which is a really common modal interchange chord borrowed from the G minor. They'll often put it into G major for effect. Then we get to the G here, our 1 chord. Then it does it again. This is some pretty textbook stuff. But then this G here becomes another modal interchange chord, the 1-7 chord, often found in blues. And then we're up to the flat major 6 again, borrowed from G minor. So spicy. If you found this video useful, consider subscribing to keep up to date with the latest releases. There's also a backlog of other videos which you could check out as well. If you wanted to see some videos of myself performing, there should be a link somewhere around my head.